Yes, I'm Diarmuid O'Flynn from Ballyhale, entering the race for MEP. For over 3 years we have marched without pause, peeling the onion in Ireland's cause. Peeling the onion, the EU skin, 7 layers of institutional admin. The Commission, initiators of legislation, the 28-member cabinet with the power to crush nations, and they have used it. Unelected though they may be, theirs is the power to force austerity on Ireland, Greece, Portugal, Italy, Spain, while they in their towers are immune from the pain. The European Council, a gathering of heads of state, the guiding lights, the good and the great who have steered this ship onto the reef, ran us aground, marooned, no relief. There's a second council, as though one isn't enough, councils of ministers, each with their own brief. The Court of Auditors checks the EU's budget accounts, budget amounts. Not since 1993 have they signed off on the accounts. The Court of Justice has 3 layers of its own, layer inside layer. That's how this monster has grown. And then there's the European Central Bank, bean counting number crunchers of the highest rank. And finally, the Parliament, that for which I now stand, sits in Brussels and Strasbourg, the people's brass band. And here's the rule. Only one of those layers is directly elected. All of those others are largely selected. Yet the Parliament, that democratic institution, can't initiate legislation. It needs to change. We need to rearrange the entire edifice, to get back to the core face. Too many layers, too many players, too much bureaucracy, too little democracy. Banks, bailouts, bonds, budgets, unelected bureaucrats bullying and blackmailing us into assuming a debt that is not ours, that was never ours, and that will never justly be ours. Is this the Europe we want? Is this the Europe we join? Is this the Europe we want to take into the future? No, no, and no again. Asleep at the wheel. 7 layers of administration, 3 layers of legislation, 3 European presidents, 3 layers of justice, 2 centres of parliament, 2 European councils, but all with one thing in common. All are asleep at the wheel. And while they were sleeping, 85 people have the same aggregate wealth as half the world's population. That's 3.5 billion people. How did that happen? The world's wealthiest individuals and the world's wealthiest global corporations pay little or no tax. How did that happen? Banks are bailed out, private investor losses paid out. Those costs and losses of our new copper bosses, all covered by us, the people. How did that happen? The most vulnerable people in the most vulnerable nations are subsidizing the healthiest and the wealthiest. How the hell did all this happen? It happened while those in the various EU layers were sleeping. It happened while we, who put them there, were sleeping. Deregulation, privatization, globalization. Our legislators facilitated all this. Our legislators legislated all this. Some with eyes wide shut, some with eyes wide open. Here's our little worldly tale. The Pythagoras theorem has 24 words. The Lord's Prayer has 66 words. The Archimedes Principle has 67 words. The Gettysburg Address has 286 words. The 10 Commandments has 179 words. The Proclamation of the Irish Republic has 475 words. The US Declaration of Independence has 1,300 words. EU Regulation number 1591/87, laying down the quality standards for cabbages, Brussels sprouts, rib celery, spinach, and plums, has 5,091 words. While the 7 layers of the EU onion distracted themselves and asphyxiated business with layer after layer of petty regulations. Others were using their power and money to effect and effect major legislation, and thus were the floodgates opened. Thus did the tsunami of greed engulf the world, and surfing that wave of the 85, swamped by that wave, the 3.5 billion and more, closing the gates. It's not too late to slam shut that gate. We've still got time to get the world back in line. All those attacks on us, well, let's say attacks on them. The financial transaction tax, the FTT, a small fee on the most toxic transactions, taking back a slice from the greedy factions. The tax-avoiding global corporations close those loopholes with global taxation. Close cooperation among the world's super nations for the benefit of all. That's all that's needed. The selfish interests of the powerful few now supersedes the needs of the people. And thus, the transatlantic trade and investment partnership did not help with this. And you have the TTIP twixt the EU-USA, a partnership, yes, of power and money, the greedy grabbing ever more of the honey. A corporate charter with a code of their own, where profit is law and people are fodder, fed to the gods, the euro and dollar. And all of this has happened under the blind watch of a succession of EU administrations. The elected, the selected, they have led us to this, sleepwalked and sleep-talked us to the edge of the abyss. Despair is suicide. A black cloud hovers over our nation. The black dog takes up his station on the shoulders of so many, and they die. By their own hand, they die. Sorrow and despair, utter despair. Ideas and impressions, clouded depressions, inane position, devoid of ambition, emergency exit. So many taking that emergency exit, not because they want to die, but because they can no longer live. Long before that final fateful act, life has been sucked from them. Emigration, we thought it was history, consigned for the past, but it's back, and with a bang. Not felt since the Great Hunger. Younger and younger, degrees that fists of despair in their hearts, they leave. Families fractured, communities sundered, and nations fragmented again. And why? This despair, this destruction, this death at our doors, this mass departure from our shores. Why? The mistakes of others, the greed of others, private losses imposed by unelected corporate bosses on starving peoples right across Europe with the collusion of our own politicians. The wrong people blamed, the wrong cause diagnosed, the wrong cure prescribed, leading to one conclusion: we have been electing the wrong people. The Irish people didn't collapse Lehman's, didn't design the euro, didn't pour hundreds of millions into Greece, Italy, Spain, Portugal, and into Ireland. It's a fiscal problem, cried the Commission, with the ECB in chorus. Austerity is the cure. It was a financial problem, of course. Banks at the core. So a bailout for who? Ireland did not get any bailout, and shout that from the rooftops with your voice tops. Ireland did not get a bailout. The IMF moves into a country in trouble, lays down its conditions: asset fire sales, privatization, deprivation with cuts in services, but always, bondholders borrowed and creditors take a share of the burden until Ireland. The IMF were joined by the Commission, the ECB, the unholy trinity, the Troika. One aim they had, one aim alone: bail out the banks. No bond left behind, no loss imposed on those who blindly, greedily, voraciously had fed the Irish property boom had fed on the Irish property boom. But now, as the whole thing went boom and bust, there was still profit, down to the last cent and the last coupon. Why? Because the ECB decided so, because the Commission decided so, because Merkel and Sarkozy decided so, and because our own government, cowed and cowed, paralysed by fear, bowed to the pressure. The abuse of political muscle by the Commission, the abuse of financial muscle by the ECB, and who will cover all those losses? By the people, the already suffering Irish people. Bailout, a bailout all right, but not the people. And you can sing this in verse from the highest people. Ireland, Europe didn't bail out Ireland, it was the exact reverse. And so I'm here, standing and running simultaneously, which is kind of a contradiction. The parties of record are on the trail, fleets of jeeps, custom painted, bottomless budgets subsidised by us all, ads, posters, billboards galore, strategies, board management, they go to store, and the promises, the promises, the promises. In Cork and Kerry, in Carlow and Kilkenny, they'll promise the earth, which will be no surprise, if all you get is mud in your eyes. As so often before, isn't that what you tend to do during election? Pat Roberts, tell it like it is. Shameless admission, but after the fact, after the false promises of the last election, landed him with a fat ministry and landed us with all this misery. If you're happy with the status quo, if you're happy with how Europe has brought us this low, if you're happy with our current MEPs, if you're happy with how they've watched us brought to our knees, no fiery speech in Parliament, no public challenge save from two, Joe Higgins and Paul Murphy, Joe's replacement. No defying the native whip, loyalty to party above all else, while paying lip service to the people. And again, bar one, Nessa Childers, she paid for her conviction. And she paid. I want this job. I want to do full-time for the next 5 years, what I've been doing part-time for the last 3 years. But this time, with a mandate from you, the people. My first, my last, my only loyalty is to you, the people, all the people, left, right, centre, party, non-party, regardless of race, religion, colour or creed, we're all people. We're all in this together, we must all walk together. I make just 3 promises. I will walk, I will walk, I will walk. So, May 23rd, I'm asking for your vote. That's it. Thank you.